Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the annual general meeting for the town of Osoyoos, Monday, June 20th, 2011 at 1 o'clock p.m. in council chambers. The first order of business would be the mayor's message, and I will present that right now. First off, I should just back up. Councillor Cronmiller is still in Ontario and not going to attend this meeting or the regular meeting following this. He's holidaying and having a little bit of a vacation with his family in Ontario, so it will be the three councillors and myself for today's AGM. On behalf of the Town Council and staff, I am pleased to present the 2010 Annual Report. This report provides the community with an update on progress made in relation to the performance of measures, accomplishments, and objectives that were set out in the 2010 fiscal year. The town has taken steps to be more transparent and accountable to the community we serve by increasing accessibility to information through various social media outlets. We remain focused on fiscal responsibility, environmental sustainability, infrastructure upgrades, and improvements to our community. I'd just like to reflect this because we're already 6 months past 2010, that even when I'm reading some of this, they seem like old news, although it is the report for the 2010 year. The following are some of the key projects that were taken in 2010, and some of these you'll see have been brought forward because they are ongoing projects, and some of them we are getting good successes on. So some of the projects were addressing the migrant transient issues during the summer months. The airport industrial park servicing, in which we sold 5 of the 7 lots that were being offered. Completion of phase 1 of the Northwest Sewer Project. A citizen satisfaction survey that gave us great feedback into what the community's demands and expectations were. Continued efforts on Osoyoos affordable housing strategy, trying to take that from a lot of words into getting something on the ground and something going. That has been moved forward. We've had talks with some Habitat for Humanity folks, and we are still looking forward on moving that item forward. We have continued staff certification and educational upgrades. Some of our staff members have won some certificates in that and have been recognized by Town Council. The hiring of the community development manager. This was after the change in governance model with Destination Osoyoos, and we brought this community development manager under the auspices of the town rather than Destination Osoyoos. Live web streaming of council meetings. I know the quality is not great, but it certainly allows people that don't have Channel 18 to be able to partake in what is happening at council, and it's particularly valuable to some of the folks that are snowbirds down south, where they can be able to go on their computers and see what's happening at home. The Lions Park Lagoon Marina upgrades, they are really progressing now. I'm sure we all had our doubts, but they're really getting it together, and I think by the end of this month, the tail end of this month, it's going to be looking really great down there. We made some off-street parking regulations, and of course this one seems so long ago. The Olympic Paralympic Torch Relay event. I remember being down there in February, and it was cold, and we were all going for Canada and the Olympics, and that was just a great event. The Osoyoos Coyotes in their inaugural season. Interesting enough, I was at a little volunteer recognition yesterday, and they've got a great year coming this year. Their recruitment program is really well, and when you win the league, people like to come and play for you, so they certainly don't have any issues with getting people to come and play in Osoyoos. The town has partnered with the Whistler Center for Sustainability and the Federation of Canadian Municipalities to begin development of an integrated community sustainable plan. And to that end, we're now looking at the tail end of that and having that wrapped up with a final report. There was playground equipment upgrades for Lions and Kinsman Park. Excellent equipment down there. Refreshed the surface for the little kiddies, and just a great improvement. There's a lot of new equipment to climb on, and there's some of the existing that's still there. We did the road exchange agreement with the Osoyoos Indian Band. This is over on 45th, where you actually turn down towards Spirit Ridge. And where that jog is there, that was demanded by the Ministry of Transportation, and that is going to be a convenience store there within, I believe, within a year. There were road upgrades in town to Finch Crescent, 87th Street, 72nd Avenue, and Oleander Drive. Southeast Meadowlark Area Plan and the ALR block exclusion. This involves the fire hall, the Richter property, and where the new fire hall is slated to go. There were steps taken to reduce carbon footprint through the establishment of the corporate and community action plans, an idling control bylaw, and vehicle equipment idle control policy. We established a tourism marking park partnership agreement between Destination Osoyoos and the three funding partners, which was us, the town of Osoyoos, the Regional District of Okanagan-Smilkameen, Area A, and the Inkanip Resort Association, the Osoyoos Indian Band. This was a real breakthrough where and I'll use the word finally, that we had all three people coming to the table and funding Destination Osoyoos, because the work they do really is for the town of Osoyoos area in the big picture and in the big sense. There's always trail development and enhancement. We're really looking at our regional trail program, our town trail program. I believe anything that we do there as a council and as a town really enhances the Osoyoos experience. Upgrades to the Park Place Boulevard landscaping and walkway, and we did some water meter installation to the 25 high use accounts, and we're picking on those first. Obviously, that's where you're going to see the results, and that's where you're going to be able to benchmark the results and bring it into a common purpose for the town. So as mayor of the town of Osoyoos, it is my great privilege to be associated with the council and staff who have worked so diligently to provide the utmost quality of service to our residents. We shall continue to be an open, inclusive, and welcoming community, making Osoyoos Canada's warmest welcome. So thank you, and this council has worked really hard. It's been a pleasure to be a part of this council and be a part of some of the accomplishments. Our work is never done. When people ask me, well, how's it going? And I go, well, in my job, there's never a shortage of issues. So the issues just keep coming, and hopefully we're dealing with them in a way that people appreciate and can see some of the results that are forthcoming. So having had my little input into it, I would now like to pass this over to our Chief Administrative Officer, Mr. Barry Romenko.
Thank you, Mayor Wells, Council, Directors, ladies and gentlemen. As Chief Administrative Officer, I continue to marvel at the commitment of our administrative and operational teams to the overall success and excellence in the delivery of municipal services to the Osoyoos residents and the visitors. Osoyoos is a vibrant community that looks to growth and development of new projects and ideas every year. Working in this type of environment takes special people with a desire to do better every day for the advancement of the community. This working environment requires all staff to have leadership skills, to assess and to respond to demands on a day-to-day operational basis, with skills to allocate resources to be able to enable new projects to be completed. No one can foresee all the factors that may impact a project, nor do we know the changing environments to which everyone must adapt. With this thought in mind, it is important that all people who care about the future of this community illustrate the traits of patience and understanding that projects that have been identified will be completed within the context of community priority. I'd just like to take a couple minutes now to just highlight just a few of the projects that I was involved in as CAO in terms of took some of my time. First and foremost, the Northwest Sewer Project. Certainly a significant amount of time was taken in dealing with contractual agreements, securing of right-of-ways, and ongoing implementation issues with the residents that were going to receive service. Phase 1 was substantially completed this year, and we're certainly looking to 2011 and 2012 when this project will be completed. In terms of the recruitment and selection of a community development manager, this is an area that Osoyoos is taking a leadership role in. Many communities are looking to our model that we are using. The process required going through and screening through 60 initial applicants until we finally came up with the man that we feel is doing an excellent job for our community at this time. In the area of resort municipality, a very important part to this particular community, in that we received a significant amount of capital funding. We went through a process in April that was a public consultation process to redo the capital planning process, and we completed it in 2011, and those projects will be going forward, and soon we'll be expending funds in that particular area, or expending more funds in that particular area in 2011. 2010 saw the first visitor experience assessment form that we had individuals who interviewed visitors to our community to get feedback from them on what type of experiences they're having. And this experience of the providing the survey information helps us to build a better visitor experience for the people that come to town, improve our facilities in the right area. In the area of agreement development, certainly one area that a significant amount of time was spent was developing or attempting to develop an agreement with the CIREC group at Desert Park. Unfortunately, we weren't able to complete this particular project in 2010. Another highlight was the work that went into developing the 3-year funding agreement with Destination Osoyoos. And also the legwork or the groundwork was done for new fire agreements and sewer agreements with the Osoyoos Indian Band. In the area of human resource development, we completed an internal staff survey. This information will be utilized in terms of making our working environment a healthier and better place to work. We also started a process of formal evaluations that was initiated in terms of developing the format and the forms in 2010 with implementation in 2011. In terms of organizational development, we completed the terms of reference and selected a consultant to implement the organizational review. And also 2010 was the first year of actual implementation of our business plan. In community projects, we started the groundwork with the museum on securing a new site. We completed the first community satisfaction survey. This information will be used in improving our services and assisting in developing our new business plan. And also took a look at one of the projects we did was assisted in the planning and delivery of the provincial economic development projects. So we looked forward to 2011. We're halfway through it already, and certainly we look forward to the challenges of 2011. And I thank you for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Romanko. The next item would be a report from Corporate Services. Ms. Jeanette Van Vienen, please.
Thank you. This 2010 was another busy year under Corporate Services Department. Under land issues, we continued to progress on the beach access and encroachment issues. We completed the golf course lease agreement. An invitation for proposals was put forward for the use of the old health unit facility. and the museum lease, Lions Club lease, and license to occupy for the Osoyoos Lawn Bowling Club were renewed. Under bylaws, the off-street public parking regulations bylaw, council procedures bylaw, idling control bylaw, safe premises bylaws were all adopted, and initial drafting began on the water conservation and stage restriction bylaw. Other bylaw-related issues were 20 bylaws were tracked, finalized, distributed, and uploaded to the website, and 14 bylaws were consolidated and uploaded to the website. The town website was maintained, and general upkeep was given to that, and the drafted sustainability web pages content were included into our website. And we continued with the live web streaming of council meetings starting in June of last year, so it's been a year already. Under human resources, we completed some job descriptions, assisted with the student position hiring for recreation and public works. Emergency planning, we had meetings with border officials regarding emergency planning, assisted with providing assistance to the Emergency Operations Center in Oliver from the breach of the Testalinden Creek. We attended a business continuity workshop and continue to search for a new volunteer director for emergency social services. We had 7 FOI requests, one of which was very lengthy. By law enforcement, we researched use of traffic boots. We attended a provincial court hearing to determine the outcome of noise bylaw dispute, attended a bar watch session in Penticton. Meetings were held regarding seasonal workers. Boat trailer parking, 50 extended parking permits were issued. Highway boulevard signage was cleaned up. Vehicle idling information flyers were created, and 95 municipal tickets were issued and followed up on. Other issues were filing system was revamped and completed. Our e-filing system was reorganized. We drafted reports for the UBCM Convention on Policing, Transients, Geese, and the District Municipality. Janitorial contract was awarded for 3 years. Continued work on the goose control and the Silga resolution. And under action tracking, we did some implementation and continued to work on that system. And continued administration of the South Okanagan Transit System. Bylaw enforcement officer's report, I'll give that. He was not able to attend today. Under unsightly premises, there were 136 owners were sent friendly reminders to keep their property free of debris. 63 required additional inspections, bringing the total number of inspections to 335. There was an increase in feral cats this past summer, which was 2010. Bylaw enforcement officers worked hard to replace abandoned animals in adoptive homes. The 2-hour parking patrols were implemented and improved public awareness, enforced the trailer and RV parking compliance. Approximately 200 warning tickets were issued, and time spent educating the transport operators and enforcing the no parking zones in front of Watermark and Mariposa, and focused on unlicensed vehicles on boulevards and double parking. Just under 100 warning issues were issued. The boat trailer enforcement, 250 plates were monitored, 122 warning tickets, and 17 fines were issued for the boat trailer parking lot in summer of 2010. Under the idling bylaw, materials were provided to the downtown core in a bid to educate the public, and only a handful of fines were issued. And there was, under transient peoples and logistics, the bylaw officers were busy removing transient peoples from unofficial camps in the rural area during the summer. Parks have seen double the activity, and enforcement has been stretched as a result of added alcohol and dog and park infractions. And that's my report. Thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Van Vienen. From the Planning and Development Services, Mr. Cunningham, please.
I am? Okay, thank you. Don't give me that again. I know I always forget. 2010 was an exciting year for Planning and Development Services. Here are some of the highlights. First, some planning highlights. In 2010, staff built on the Osoyoos Affordable Housing Strategy prepared the previous year with assistance from City Space Consulting and input from a citizen task force. Council approved staff's proposed affordable housing policies for managing our available resources and partnering with community groups and other government levels to meet the different needs of 4 priority groups. These groups are 1. Moderate income working households, 2. Short stay workers, 3 low-income and special needs households, and 4 elderly seniors on fixed incomes. In April 2010, Council adopted the Southeast Middle-Arc Area Plan as Schedule C to our OCP. The plan was prepared in-house by planning staff for a 40-acre area on the west side of town that is transitioning away from agricultural use. Half the area will be developed with 270 medium-density homes, of which 40 will be affordable units targeted to young working households, i.e. the first group addressed in Council's affordable housing policies. The affordable component is planned to enhance both our future social and economic sustainability. A site has also been reserved in the area for a new strategically located fire hall to be built to green standards. Later in the year, the area plan was attached to Council's application to the Agricultural Land Commission to exclude Southeast Meadowlark from the Agricultural Land Reserve. The town's hard work paid off when the Commission agreed to exclude the area through a staged approval process. Each time Council approves the zoning of a property, the Commission will approve its release from the ALR after confirming consistency against the area plan. Now some comments about the Osoyoos Waterfront Master Plan. In 2010, the Waterfront Steering Committee, chaired by Councillor Cromweller, advanced implementation of the 2007 Osoyoos Waterfront Master Plan. The committee centered their work on the town's proposed Lions Park Marina, along with public infrastructure investments into adjoining road improvements, pathway extensions, a parking staging area, and a marine support building and washroom. In July 2010, Council added a marina as a site-specific permitted use in the Parks and Recreation Zone around Lions Park Lagoon to clear the way for eventual construction. In August, the town received approval to build the marina project from Transport Canada in Fisheries and Oceans Canada after a lengthy and exhaustive application process. Near the end of the year, Council approved commercial and riparian development permits for the marina. Now turning to regional growth strategy, the Regional District Board approved the regional growth strategy for the South Okanagan in April 2010 after many years of preparation and an unsuccessful earlier draft. Osoyoos Council and staff played an influential role with our regional and municipal partners to develop the approved strategy, which includes effective growth management policies to contain urban growth and conserve agricultural and natural reserve lands throughout the region. In 2010, the town of Osoyoos, the regional district, and our municipal partners retained Stantec Consulting to prepare us each 2 types of interlocking climate action plans to meet our provincial responsibilities. 1, a corporate climate action showing how the town will become carbon neutral in its municipal operations, including taking actions on reducing GHG emissions and purchasing carbon offsets to cover any shortfall. Second, a community action plan is the basis for including targets in our OCP for reducing greenhouse gas emissions across the whole community, as well as policies for achieving those targets. Now for some bylaw highlights. Our land use procedures bylaw has been in place for some years, and every year we make improvements to it. In 2010, Council amended the bylaw to allow delegation of signing authority to the Director for Industrial and Environmental Development permits and amendments to existing permits. This has helped streamline our operations and improve customer services. New sign bylaw. Staff continued advancement of best practices sign bylaw by incorporating improvements requested by Council. We also initiated a policy impact assessment study showing how different stakeholders in the community could be affected by the proposed sign regulations. Water zoning. Following considerable staff research, a proposal was made to replace our current boat regulations with best practices water zoning. After concerns were raised by some user groups, Council directed staff to direct a new bylaw using a stakeholder involvement process. Council subsequently approved staff's proposed terms of reference for the Lake Recreational and Commercial Use Task Force and selected 8 citizens to represent a range of sectoral and community interests. Meetings started for the drafting of recommendations to take back to Council. It is worth noting that the Lake Task Force was named Best Council-Approved Committee or Task Force for 210. A much-needed new bylaw was sent to Council to regulate the removal and deposit of soils across the town and is now awaiting provincial approval. Some highlights on our general operations. In 210, the building inspector issued 62 building permits for a total construction value of $4.5 million. 32,421 was collected in landscaping securities, and 471,000 of previously collected securities were released for satisfactory completed landscaping. A total of 406 business licenses were issued in 210 for a total value of $45,114. Last, some development highlights. In 210, staff worked on the following development applications: 1 phase development agreement, 2 OCP amendments, including 1 joint OCP zoning amendment, 6 other zoning amendments, 6 development permits, 1 development variance permit, 3 subdivisions, 2 ALR applications, and 1 potential application. The annual report, which you have, includes details on some of those on all of those applications, but I just want to focus on a couple of them. First is a development that on 97th Avenue, Council approved a development permit and a servicing agreement, and it's for building 106 or 8 town homes on an abandoned gravel pit. The developers indicated that you would first build 18 units to be accessed from Brayburn Place. Lastly, the largest project in 210 for planning development was the Oasis development proposal adjoining downtown. This mixed-use development will include a medical commercial building and 3 medium-rise residential buildings with 237 multiple-family dwellings. The Oasis development is planned to be constructed over a 10-year period and a very detailed phase development agreement, the town's first. Amongst other things, the agreement guarantees amenity payments of up to $500,000 to the town. It also includes a comprehensive servicing agreement, another first for the town, requiring the developer to invest $1.5 million into public infrastructure according to strict town standards. And then lastly, after receiving staff's 140-page report, Council approved the phase development agreement for Oasis, along with companion OCP and zoning amendments and a development permit for the medical commercial building, which will be the building that will proceed first. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Cunningham. A very busy year indeed. I wish we had those building permit figures back here again, but maybe they'll come again. Thank you. The next report would be Operational Services. Mr. Ron Doucette, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. Nice to be here again. First of all, I'd like to thank Mike Thomas and my entire Public Works staff for all their dedication and their hard work. So I just wanted to put that up there first. As you know, Public Works, it's nice to have all these projects, but somebody's got to take care of them after they're done, and that's basically where we come in. But we did have a good year again this year. Like Mr. Mayor mentioned about a lot of the road works that we've done, a lot of these are development driven, some are grant driven, and if you're going to tear a road up, you have to make sure that your water, sewer, and everything else underneath the ground is in good shape before you repave it. So that was all part of it. We had a few overlays that we completed. That's part of our overall plan to the roads that are not as busy but still need our attention. They get done on a regular basis. The airport works was completed. We did have at the sewer lagoons, we had an energy reduction. We had some solar panels installed, hopefully away from the golfers. But other than that, it's going to help in our operations of our blower to operate 24/7. Our cell number 2 got desludge and a new aeration system. That's the big sausages you see south of the high school field. We had a spare pump at the main lift. Our main lift is the key to getting our sewer from the town to our treatment plant, and if they go down, we're in trouble. So we got a spare pump ready to go in case. And we had some lift stations also that we upgraded as part of our upgraded system. We had some, like I say, Mr. Mayor mentioned about the meters. There's always, we had a groundwater protection plan. That's all part of the Ministry of Health to make sure that we provide everyone with quality water. We have upgraded to our SCADA system. Again, that's our computer system that gives us the knowledge to either our on-call person or at the shop. And we're well 5. That's part of again of our upgrading to our maintenance program. There's a couple of buildings that got helped out at Public Works. We did some work to get a little cold storage facility turned into a little warm storage. The dog pound got increased. Like I said, we did have playground equipment that we've installed actually just this late fall. We did some equipment purchase again to help out with our fleet. And lastly but not leastly, our personnel is important. We have to have certified people to operate our water and our sewer. And we made sure that they have the qualification necessary and the certification necessary for the level of water sewer that we have, and that has been completed. And other than that, I guess in a nutshell, I'll be short, and that's it for me.
Thanks, Mr.
I am short, but that's not what I meant.
Thanks, Mr. Doucette. And I guess when you look at the crew that works for operational services and how multifaceted they are, I mean, you had got an idea. They're handling everything from gardens to pumps to solar upgrades on the lagoons. So they certainly handle a lot of responsibility in the town, and we never ever have any complaints about the operational services. So that's always great. Thanks, Mr. Doucette. Next would be Recreational and Leisure Services, Mr. Davis.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. It's always tough following Ron, but I'll do my best. The Department of Recreation and Leisure Services has worked diligently over the past year to maximize the use of town facilities and to bring a wealth of new and continuing program options to our community. Staff assisted with the 2010 Olympics and Paralympics in Vancouver by being part of the longest Olympic torch relay. During 2010, our department moved forward with a number of projects and made changes that included areas in administration, parks and green spaces, facilities, programs, and special events. I'd like to highlight some of these areas. In terms of administration, volunteer appreciation, we continue to promote and celebrate our volunteers by hosting a volunteer appreciation luncheon and recognizing outstanding individuals in our community who dedicate their time and efforts to making Osoyoos a better place. Memorial Bench Program. This year we took on this program, and it provides individuals an opportunity to place a memorial for loved ones who have been past citizens or who have been part of our community. Special event applications. Anything that goes across council comes to us first in terms of special events, and we make sure that everything is in need or is there for the people who need the information from the town. In terms of occupational health and safety, this past year we hired the services of McMullen and Associates to make sure that our employees have a safe place to work. Our fees and services bylaw. This year we had a 10% increase in fees and services, mostly due in part to the fact of the HSC, which was a 7%. Mr. Mayor had made mention of the Osoyoos Coyotes in the inaugural season, and a great season it was. The town partnered with local agencies such as the Red Cross, the Boys and Girls Club, and their literacy program through the Okanagan College. We also had staff training, which included a certificate in local government, a year or two of our leadership development course, pesticide management course, and our ICE facility operators course. Next, I'd like to just touch on parks. In June, we organized a dedication for Goodman Park, which was a long time coming. Discussions took place with the Southern Interior Recreation Equestrian Corporation, also known as SIREC, which Mr. Romanko had mentioned earlier. And we had assistance from the National Trails Coalition and our hotel, motel, resort funding, and also the town of Osoyoos, and made improvements to our trails. In terms of our facilities, we've added new fitness equipment to the weight room. Staff conducted a survey with users, and the consensus was to have the facility open for extended hours, which was approved by council, and it is in place right now. The gymnasium floor was stripped, relined, and verithaned, and it gets a lot of use, and obviously it's an excellent piece of equipment for us. Landscaping was completed, and the sound system was upgraded at the Sun Bowl Arena. As part of the Recreation Infrastructure Grant, the tennis courts were painted and were ready for use before the summer began. In terms of our programs and our special events, we had mentioned the Olympic-Paralympic Torch Relay. This was held at Gyro Beach and was part of the longest torch relay in history. As a legacy, we received solar-powered garbage cans, and Olympic banners were made available to the public. We had 12 slow-pitch teams with a season that ran from April till the end of June. Indoor volleyball ran for a couple of sessions with 10 teams. Beach volleyball continued at Gyro Beach in the summer months. The Recreation Department produced 3 leisure guides, which goes out to every household in the Osoyoos. New programming options included wrestling for children, youth jiu-jitsu, and Zumba, which are very popular even till today. Summer playground program was very successful, and we continued with our full-day camps rather than just half-days as we had in the past. The Osoyoos Ringette Camp celebrated its 25th anniversary, and it's the longest summer camp that we have at the Sun Bowl Arena. And the Sun Bowl Arena was a host to a multitude of camps that included figure skating, BC Amateur, junior hockey, minor hockey, power skating, and select children's camps. 2010 was a very busy year for our department, and I'd like to thank our staff who makes all this possible. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Davis. I'd just like to say that this is a department that really brings the input in from the public. They do listen. They offer just a multitude of programs up there for basically everybody in our community, from the little tykes and toddlers to the seniors. And they're open to that input, and I know the one that you mentioned that came through was that early opening of the weight room up there, the exercise room, and how successful that is, where people can actually go in there now at 6 o'clock in the morning and access that and get onto some equipment to meet their schedules. So again, they are listening, and it sort of reflects council's position to be open and transparent, and we are trying to communicate with the citizens of Osoyoos. The next one is the big one, financial services, presented by Director of Financial Services, Mr. Jim Zacko.
Thank you, Mayor Wells. So the Finance Department's responsibilities and authority comes from legislation mandated by the Community Charter, provincial and federal statutes, and municipal bylaws. Our department's main goals are to provide an excellent financial services to the citizens of Osoyoos, town council, staff, visitors, and external agencies, to provide sound and timely financial advice to council and the administration to assist in making the best decisions on behalf of the citizens for Osoyoos, as well to safeguard the assets of the town of Osoyoos. The functions of the Finance Department are preparation and monitoring of the 5-year financial plan and annual financial statements, preparing and interpreting interim financial statements, levying and collecting municipal taxes and utility fees. And by the way, taxes are due July 4th with the postal disruption. Please get your taxes in on time. Processing accounts payable, receivables, and payroll. Maintaining and updating cemetery records, developing and maintaining financial systems, borrowing and investing surplus and reserve funds. 2010 saw a 2.9% increase to municipal tax over 2009. There was a $3 increase to residential sewer user fees and an $8 increase to water residential user fees. Some of the actions that were taken that were over and above the normal daily work was working with the OIB on the 45th Road Exchange Agreement and getting it to the construction phase of that, where construction did begin in late 2010. The landfill operator contract, we had put that out to RFP. The new contract was signed December 2010, and that's for a 5-year period. We had the disposition of airport lands for the two Osoyoos home builders. We sold 5 lots up at the Osoyoos Airport in 2010, where the Osoyoos Home Building Center will be that'll be their future location. We had a number of fees and services bylaws that were updated in 2010, as well as establishing a tangible capital asset policy that Council approved in February of last year. Some of the, with the audited financial statements, White Kennedy had completed the audit for the town of Osoyoos, and the Sun Bowl Arena. Some of the highlights from the 2010 financial statements include the reserves for future expenditures. For the general fund, it had a balance of $1,571,727. The sewer fund had a balance of $1,178,558. And the water fund had $713,213. For development cost charges, we had development cost charges for parks, was at $998,592. For DCC roads, $872,865. DCC water, $636,130. And DCC sewer at $413,393. For the town's long-term debt, we have under our general fund $196,667, and that was for our 87th Street project. We have our water fund, which has decreased by $17,689. We had our sewer fund, which decreased by $99,239. For our tangible capital assets, our net book value for tangible capital assets had increased to $40,046,061 from a balance of $30,564,257 in 2009. And our net book value for tangible capital assets under capital leases has also increased to $717,237 from a balance of $427,430 in 2009. Cemetery Care Fund has a balance of $66,326. Cash surpluses prior to year-end adjustments for the general fund was $1,181,763.52. The water fund was $451,790.42, and the sewer fund was $234,173.72. In our gas tax funding account, which is another name for that is called the Community Works Fund Grant, we have a balance of $491,666, and that's for projects that go towards cleaner air, cleaner water, or reduced greenhouse gas emissions. And the Sun Bowl Arena had a surplus of $3,962. At this point in time, I'd also like to thank all of our staff, all of town staff, and councils, water councilors, for a good year in 2010.
Thanks, Mr. Zackel. Next, we'll have Fire Chief Rick Jones giving the report from his department.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bear. Councilors. To start here, at the town of Osoyoos operates volunteer fire department, which consists between 27 and 30 paid-on-call firefighters. The department responded to 153 calls last year, or in 2010. 101 of them were for in the town of Osoyoos, and 52 were in the rural area A. In addition, the town contracts fire protection services for the Rural Fire Protection District and the Osoyoos Indian Band. The town continues to maintain a mutual aid agreement with neighboring fire departments to provide assistance to the Osoyoos Fire Department and provide assistance to the Osoyoos Fire Department should an additional resources be required. We saw that this spring. In return, the Osoyoos Fire Department supports the neighboring fire departments as needed. In 2010, the town implemented a false alarm system regulation bylaw 1259. The intent of this bylaw was to decrease the number of false alarms responded to by the fire department, thereby ensuring the fire department's availability to respond to real emergencies. As a step to promote prevention, a fee of $350 will be imposed for the second and any additional false alarm responded to within the same calendar year. Planning on the development of the new fire hall, which is supposed to be located on the Richter property, the Fire Department Building Committee developed a preliminary floor plan and plot plans to accommodate the department and facility needs and access. These plans include buildings, sitting access to the fire apparatus, parking lots, and training grounds. In 2010, the department equipment purchases included a GMC Sierra hybrid crew cab for the, it says the fire chief, which was leased for a 5-year period. The firemen continued to host their annual fundraisers in 2010, which include the oyster feed and annual Easter weekend haircuts. The organization of which involves enormous amounts of volunteer time by members and their families to ensure that the events run smoothly. Funds raised at this were donated to the number of places. Children's burn unit at the Vancouver General Hospital, towards the purchase of new lab equipment at the South Okanagan General Hospital. Relay for Life raised funds to help find a cure for cancer. The Multiple Sclerosis Society, Ronald McDonald House, the pediatric unit at the Penticton Regional Hospital. At the end of the day, it's all about what we can do, what we can do to help those in need in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Jones, and I'd just like to extend on behalf of Council, thanks for looking after our public safety in regards to fires for the people of Osoyoos and the rural areas. We really appreciate it, and you certainly do a great job out there, and that's obviously by the amount of support you get back from the town. So it always works both ways, and we really do appreciate that service. Next up would be our newest department, Community Development and Tourism, by one of our newest managers, Mr. Jim Newman.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. It gives me great pleasure to present an overview of the activities of the Community Development Department for the year 2010. The most important highlight, I believe, was that Council initiated the Community Development Department in the third quarter of 2010, which explains why I'm here in front of you today. As a Community Development Manager, my job is broken into 3 areas, and those responsibilities are working as the town liaison with community organizations to develop and enhance the community's sustainable activities, promote new areas of business and industry development while working with the present town businesses in the area of retention and expansion. And the third area is the area of tourism and working collaboratively with local regional organizations on tourism projects, initiatives which will enhance and create sustainable tourism for the town and tourism stakeholders. The last month of 2010, being my first 5 months on the job, was a time of getting to know the community, the people, the stakeholders, and the leaders in this community as well, having them understand my plans for working with the town organizations. As well, in that time, there was a couple of projects that were initiated in 2010, but most of those initiatives have been moved over to 2011. Some of those projects are the Integrated Sustainable Community Plan, planning process, which the seeds were planted in 2010, and the work is progressing in 2011, which includes working with the Community Sustainability Action Team, a group of community stakeholders, a group of committed volunteers working on that plan, and In 2010, we also looked at meeting with the community and public engagement and taking that information from the community and moving forward and having the community sustainability team work on that information that they gain through that public meeting. As well as working with the stakeholders through regular meetings over the last the period of time in 2010 and into 2011. As well, part of the job was overseeing the community grant in aid program, where approximately 12 community organizations were recipients of grant funding for their community projects. As well, working with the Area A Director, Mark Pendergrass, on seasonal workers project, or the seasonal workers project of locating a camp in the area. On a regional basis, attending South Okanagan Chamber of Commerce meetings and co-hosting a fall business luncheon in Osoyoos with the chamber. As well, meeting with representatives from Community Futures and sitting as a representative on one of their steering committees called Economic Gardening, which identifies and works with businesses in the area wishing to expand their businesses outside the region and the province. As well, on a business development focus, met with and toured people through the Sagebrush Lodge facility and discussed several business opportunities, from using that facility for a seasonal workers' quarters for the motel resort workers in the town, and the possibility of post-secondary programs opportunities in that facility in the years to come. Met with and continue to meet with resort, hotels, and tourism-based businesses on expanding the shoulder season in the community. And in the area of tourism, have worked closely with Joe Knight and the board of Destination Osoyoos on several tourism projects. And as well have met with and started developing relationships with Ministry of Jobs, Tourism, and Innovation staff with the province, who are responsible for the resort municipality initiatives, and making sure that we're on the same page with regards to that program in the province, moving that forward. So in conclusion, the last 5 months of 2010 was basically a work in progress, a learning curve for myself, as well as the community learning the business of community development, economic development, and tourism for the town.
Thanks, Mr. Oh, sorry.
No, and I guess just for final thing, an official thing, seeing that today is the last day of spring and tomorrow being the first day of summer, I will go on to the summer apparel, and you won't see a tie until September of next fall.
Well, that reflects when the tie comes off in Alberta. In the Okanagan here, we take it off in May. Thanks, Mr. Newman. And I think there's some good programs and projects that were initiated, and one of them I know that Council's looking forward to is that final report from the Community Sustainability Action Team, that CSAT. That's going to be very interesting. It was interesting work, I'm sure, working with the sustainability group from Whistler. So looking forward to that, and I think that'll be up in the fall sometime. Before we get into the public question and answer period, or the public question period for sure, there are reports coming from Council. Just looking at the objectives and measures and a little bit of what the councillors do and a little bit of where they'd like to go and what could and should be happening. And I'll start with Councillor Chadsey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to be very quick. I think you've heard from all of our departments, and you know that Council has input and certainly is a part of everything that happens through each of the departments. The year 2010 brought some really different and exciting potential, and so I attended an airport meeting with the town of Oliver, looking to possibly advance the Oliver Airport. I did a meeting with the school district with respect to the upgrades for the mini theater. Of course, worked with the museum on obtaining a new facility for them. The community sustainability and the children and youth committee, I'm active in that. The TAC committee, which in 2010 was tourism advisory committee, which was part of Destination Osoyoos, and the volunteer committee. The two committees that I really want to talk about for the 2010 have been mentioned. One of them quite a bit tonight, and that is the integrated sustainability. The CSAT committee, which is the Community Sustainability Action Committee. And the Integrated Community Sustainability Plan, this is a policy document, and when it's completed later on this year, as the Mayor referred to, it will guide the planning and decision-making well into the future. It looks into the year 2030. It's very broad in its scope. It includes the integration of social, economic, and environmental activities within our community, and it's derived from community collaboration. So all of the background work was done in 2010, and the meetings, official meetings, started happening in 2011. So we work with through the mentoring, the advice of the Whistler Sustainability Center, and we're able to do that through grant money received from the Federation of Canadian Municipalities. The group has come a long way, and the community-based group of 12 to 15 residents, they've worked out the vision statements. They've established their priorities. They've selected 9 strategic areas. They've determined what our current realities are. And the final stages, of course, are going to be our action planning, the indicators and monitoring that will move us into 2030. And we expect that document to be ready for the public sometime in September. And we really, really want the public, that all those wonderful people that came out in early January, we're looking for you to come back now and tell us that, yes, we heard what you said, or no, we missed the mark. Because whatever it is, it can be fixed and adjusted, and then on we go. The other committee that I just want to mention is the Child and Youth Committee. Oliver and Osoyoos Child and Youth Committee. And this is a committee, and I'm just going to get the brochure here. The mission of this committee is to provide a forum for exchanging information to identify, address, and advocate for child and youth needs within the South Okanagan. So what that means is a whole long list of representation from the Aboriginal Ministry for Children and Family, ARC, South Okanagan, which provides group homes, Boys and Girls Clubs in Oliver and Osoyoos, Community for Kids, the Desert Sun Counseling, the Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services through the Interior Health Authority, the Ministry of Children and Family Development that deal with the social workers and foster homes, Oliver and Osoyoos Public Health, the Osoyoos Child Care Center, Penticton and District Community Resources, the RCMP, Victims Services, Town of Oliver, Town of Osoyoos, Work Zone, and Councillor Schaefer in Oliver has just been bringing in restorative justice. So a huge representation of the South Okanagan who meet 4 times a year, and we just go through everything. We provide input, we exchange ideas, we try to identify problem youth so that the RCMP and social workers and ministries can do the work that necessary to try to keep the youths from really impacting their lives and the system. And so much of the work that they do is confidential, and all the groups that I listed are certainly not privy to that. But we do always come back with ways that we can improve within our own community, whether it's through our Sonora Center and the programs that we run, or through the high schools, which also are involved. So it's a wonderful, wonderful committee that goes just quietly about their work and have for years. And I just thought this was a great opportunity for me to bring it to the attention of the public. For me, I guess, I don't know if this is the time to say it or not, but it is an AGM, and I just want to thank my fellow councillors who, even though we don't always agree, we certainly have had a level of respect that I have not seen in a long, long time. And so to each one of you, I thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Chatsey. Councillor Rhodes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So it seems a little odd sitting here towards the end of June the following year reporting on something that happened 6.5 months ago. But you know, in 2010, the year started off with me really, really loving our community and finishing off the year with loving it even more. And I know that's kind of a corny word, you know, but I think it's really, really appropriate about how I feel about our community and the residents that live here and the people that work so hard to make it what it is. So the year kind of kicked off with the Olympic torch celebrations that we had in town here. They were just absolutely fantastic, well attended, just a great, great event in our community. And throughout 2010, I was the council liaison person with Destination Osoyoos. I was able to attend, you know, all of their board meetings and, of course, their AGM on March 5th of last year. I did miss a couple of meetings, and I did have some fellow councilors that sat in for me, but I wanted to mention something about an organization that I have a lot of respect for, and that's Destination Osoyoos. And we faced a little bit of adversity last year, and so often with adversity, you know, it's not what happened that caused it, but what you do from that moment onwards that is really, really important. And you know, Joe Knight and her staff and the board of directors down there faced a fair amount of adversity and just bared right down, and they're still continuing on to this day with that format. So, yeah, good for them for doing that. A couple of things I'd like to thank Mayor Wells for. On April 18th, we pitched in as a council, and we cleaned up about 3 tons of litter along the ditches directly west of the Husky. And you know, it started off kind of tough, you know, but we kept grunting and groaning, and we got all the stuff up to the highway. It was profound, the amount of litter that we took and collected down there. And I kind of took that as an initiative for myself personally, and I've continued on doing that throughout the year. And I'm at around 700 kilograms of litter that I've picked up this year. And I'm not patting myself on the back. I just wanted to mention that I'm only one person doing it. And for me to go out and find that much littered, what could we do as a community if there was 100 of us doing that? Somewhere around, I believe it was June 4th, I know it was previously mentioned, a Goodman Park dedication. Great thing, and what a wonderful way to recognize a pioneer family in our community. I was really, really proud, you know, to attend that, to have some of those aging people from that family attend. Just was just a great day. Mayor Wells was absent on other town business on June 12th, and you know, I got to do the grad speech. Biggest crowd that I've ever spoken to. Never been more nervous in my entire lifetime. It was just a a real apprehensive thing, but you know, I think it turned out all right. You know, I came up with a few words and kind of passed them on, and it was just a real privilege to be there and see all those young folks move forward in our community and on to other aspects of their life. I sat on the LRCU task force. I'm not sure what position I filled there. I think I was the co-chair, and not sure if that's an official term or not, but yeah, I know it's been spoken about 2 or 3 times today, so I won't go on that, but thanks a lot to the people that are on that task force and our staff that are involved in it. Just some really neat things coming out of that. I was able to chair the liaison committee that worked with the Osoyoos Museum purchase that was just recently passed by referendum. Great committee, very focused, well motivated, took that single purpose and just took it and went out to the community, and I think we all know what the results are of that. Sometime last year, I can't remember the exact date, Mayor Wells said to me, you should go up to Penticton and sit on the solid waste management plan board up there, and I said, well, what the heck is that all about? And he kind of gave me a little bit of a brief overview, and I went up there and not really knowing what to do, and turned out to be one of the most significant events, for me last year, being able to participate in that. So I'd like to just, a few words about that. The solid waste management plan is a kind of a collaborative effort between all of the regional district participants, and we're a little bit unique in Osoyoos here because this is about our landfill, and we do own our own landfill here. It's not a regional district landfill, but kind of a 20-year plan to help guide all of us in our community to make good decisions about managing our waste. And we have been investigating new and better programs to help our residents and businesses reduce, reuse, and recycle. And other than I love you, honey, those are my 3 favorite words in the English language. Thought I'd put that in perspective a little bit. And, it's really about extending the lifespan of our landfill and making the best use of our tax dollars. And this group of people that are working on this have done amazing things in identifying what kind of stuff we have in our landfill, how it's getting there, and what we should do with it once it does arrive there, and done an awful lot to encourage recycling and composting in our community. And really, the most significant thing is that, they're developing this plan, but somehow or another in Osoyoos, we've taken a real ratty piece of property that was kind of an indiscriminate dump. We never ever said you can't put that in there, and turned it into a well-managed, efficiently run facility that we can all be proud of. And these are some of the byproducts of us in this community, working on this solid waste management plan. So that would be my report for 2010.
Great, thanks, Councillor Rhodes. And Destination Osoyoos, big part of town, but they are a standalone organization. They do have their AGM, and they did go through that adversity that Councillor Rhodes talked about. Took the high road, and it was just so wonderful to see them on that high road all the way through. And again, in reference to that report, that's where they are today. So that's always good to see when you I won't say a parallel organization, but a organization of this community taking the stand that they did. Councillor Ryan, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, I think the main activity that I was involved in on behalf of council and the community was the Regional Library Board, and I've served both on the board as well as on the Policy and Procedures Committee. And while the board is dealing with a great number of major issues, including in this past year the building of a new library building in the city of Vernon, which is all part of our regional library system. we also had, as part of our Policy and Procedures Committee, the development of a strategic plan, and that was everything from devising the parameters for that plan to interviewing possible consultants who would assist in it, and then developing, being a critique group, and finally approving it for submission to the board. So along with that has been supporting and assisting a small group of Friends of the Library who operate here in Osoyoos and who are planning their annual event, which is a library book sale in August. So I hope that we'll have a nice day that day when we do it out here in the premises of the town hall, as well as a lot of people coming to buy books. And in addition, I was also involved, I guess informally, as a representative of the town and the council on the Community Action for Seniors Independence, this pilot project, which was one of 5 that the United Way of the Lower Mainland and the provincial government chose, when they chose 5 communities in the province to pilot a program to assist seniors to live independently in their homes as long as possible. And I was involved in the initial 4 to 6 months of launching that, and I'm happy that they have now become a part of our community and are operating in conjunction with the Senior Center Society. Along with that, I guess I was kind of a utility player, filling in for members of the council and the mayor when they were unable to attend important meetings, and also trying to, in various ways, to follow certain areas of special interest of mine. First of all would be various development activities and bylaws related to that, as well as bylaws in general, and using whatever means possible to continue to develop our community as a healthy, sustainable one that is reducing its carbon footprint in whatever way possible. And I'm happy to see that some of the things that I guess over the last couple of years I was involved in, which is trying to reduce plastic bag usage and plastic water bottles, have been showing a great deal of progress. It's interesting how many people come into stores and leave stores with their purchases in their own reusable bags. So I think that's something that the community can be very proud of, and again, a very visible way of doing our part. So that's my report.
Thank you, Councillor Ryan. For Councillor Cronmiller, who isn't here, I got this email this morning. I will just read it. The font is a little small for my old eyes, but I think I can get through it here. Hello, everyone. Unfortunately, I cannot be with you today. However, I have forwarded this written report for Mayor Wells to present. The past year has been a busy one for Council, and there are many highlights which will be shared by my fellow councillors and Mayor today. 2 committees I have served on this year have dealt with our waterfront and lake. The first committee is the Waterfront Master Plan. This committee has worked through marina development, walkways, and swimming areas. Development of the marina has begun. Unfortunately, Mother Nature has intervened in the progress. Painted turtles and high water have contributed to delays. However, the end result is worth waiting for. The development of docks on the lake have been put forward to future years when conditions dictate their construction. Spartan Drive is to be reconstructed and the parking lot paved, which will really add to our boat launch area. A new washroom facility for the Gyro Beach area is planned for development later this year. Pavement of a new parking lot behind the Breeze Pub is also planned for the near future. A new walkway from the Watermark Hotel to the walkway in front of White Sands has been completed. This walkway is to be extended through the boat launch area and further north to 92nd Avenue. The beach area in front of Watermark will be better identified with new buoys. Now that we have passed the museum referendum, this committee will begin work on how the park will look in the future with the museum removal. This committee has some tough decisions in the future, but the end results should be fantastic. The other committee I have chaired is the Lake Recreational and Commercial Users Task Force. This task force has worked very hard to deal with waterfront issues with the municipality. Whether it was buoys, docks, waterfront to town lands, or swimming areas, these issues and more were discussed with excellent participation by the members. A report to council will be forthcoming in the very near future. It has been a privilege for me to serve the community on these committees and look forward to 2011-12 as we work together to make our town and its lake a place of enjoyment for everyone. Ted. So the next report, Councillor Moreira, do you have a comment?
No, it's my understanding. It was the only thing I have to say is like we're working on twinning. We're trying to get grants, and we're also looking at fire hydrants from my understanding, and that's all I have to say.
Oh, those would be two very, very worthwhile projects if you can get twinning and fire hydrants. That's wonderful.
That's what we're working on.
Okay. Thanks, Councillor Moreira. Councillor Durango, any comments?
It's the same thing that Councillor Moreira had to say. We're looking forward to the twinning. It's going to be a lot of work, and looking forward to it.
Great. Thank you, Councillor Lorango. I just have a couple of real quick ones here. Obviously, I sit on a lot of committees. I sit on the regional district, and that's a fairly heavy commitment. And then through that, I was appointed to the Okanagan Basin Water Board, and I ended up chairing that for the last couple of years, including 2010. And that's a fairly heavy commitment. I think it's very valuable that we have somebody from the south, sort of the final users of the water in the Canadian Okanagan, and make sure that it's being looked after properly upstream, and that we're getting the volumes. Although I guess this year the volume was a little too high or near to it. I believe we're over that flood situation. Through the Okanagan Basin Water Board, I'm also a local committee chair on the Osoyoos Lake Water Science Forum. That is coming up in September 19th, 20th, 21st, and that's very, very important. So I just want to go back a little bit on the year 2010, and one of the concepts and one of the mandates we had was an openness of council, and I really, really think that we've strived and worked hard to make this as open a council and as transparent a council as you can have. When we have our committee of the whole meetings, it's just the one we had this morning was fantastic. It was just people sort of sitting around a coffee table or kitchen table and having a discussion about where we should go with some issues there. Very, very valuable. We never make motions or resolutions at committee of the whole. It is a discussion. It is a discussion table, and then we move it forward into the business program. 2010, great year. Really enjoyed working with council. Hardworking council, and certainly have the community's best interests at heart, bar none. Thank you very much. And just while I'm on, we'll go to questions from the public, please. Mr. Marcelli.
Is it
yeah.
Can you? Oh yeah. Thanks. Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, councillors, Mr. Romanko, Janet, other councillors, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Cy Marcelli. And before I start, Mr. Mayor, these are not all of what I'm going to say. I'm not going to be too scared.
Okay.
Just for the record, I have a 2009 annual report and 2010. Because there is a numbers to be compared.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor and councilors and Mr. Ramenko, respectfully I disagree when you are talking, all as administration and council, about transparency and accountability. I disagree, particularly as well in other points, continue to deliver cost-effective and efficient municipal service. Well, not so, because we are too much outsourcing, and that money stays in, it doesn't stay in our community, it goes out of our community. Best example is consulting company, engineering company from Kamloops. On that second page, departments highlights, corporate sales services, 3 persons, excellent job, and productive, what I did. Now, for freedom of information request, it was only 7, one of which was very lengthy, that was mine, and I did not get all the answers still.
Mr. Marcelli, that wasn't your request that was very lengthy. It was another request that was very lengthy.
I'll take it. I'll take it back. But as well, my request it was not fulfilled, and still I don't have full information. Now, financial services. No, sorry, operation services. Excellent, productive, and only one thing is missing. I've been saying this since 1999. We need full-time civil engineer with a planning experience on payroll. And we have to say goodbye. The consulting company from Kamloops, too much money, and especially 600,000 plus, and other consulting company which we are paying for it, less than $1 million or above. Now, they are doing excellent job. Ron, my compliment to all of them except the civil engineer. We need that badly. Financial services, we have a 3-person, excellent job, productive, worth money. My concern is, as a taxpayer, as a representative of most of the taxpayers, from the Helios Group report, we have that there is a plan to hire deputy treasurer, as well to outsource payroll and water billing. So, 2 more additional. I think it's too costly, and especially, Mr. Mayor and Council, without prejudice, if we follow democracy, 3/3 says majority rules. You as a mayor and councillors, you have only less than 5.5 months. This Helios report should be thoroughly researched, studied, and should be on the desk of the future councillors. November election is coming. Let them decide, whoever is successful. As I said, it's undemocratic, because right now, that's why I said there is no transparency. There is no, Mr. Mayor, openness, because in the morning is done, late afternoon, not even late afternoon, it's passed through, just like Orient Express. So that's why there is no transparency. And this is very important for us taxpayers of this town, because it's going to cost us more, not less.
I think, Mr. Maselli, I think the transparency came in the fact that you got your hands on the Helios report, and also on when we're looking at the financial services, that one job was not a new hire. It was a realignment of a job that's theirs.
Well, I'm just following Mr. Mayor.
That's fine.
Respectfully, that Helios report, I paid 50 cents a page. It cost me.
Okay.
So anyway, and now, going back, planning and development services. Deja vu all over again. We have a 5-person, 3 planners, only community now, all over the BC, maybe in Canada. Not enough. You can say whatever, Mr. Mayor and Councillor, I am open in criticism. There is I got again from Helios report. I've been saying this all these years. Now I can at least back it as well. Everybody knew it. One page cost us $1,257.20, which means $34,000 to total report. It says under planning and development, B1, current department resourcing for planning and development is 5 full-time employees. Due to substantial reduction in development activities in the past 3 years, actually more than that, but let's say, okay, short-term development activity and charges have fallen drastically. Now we are talking about we don't expect to profit on development. Yes, we cannot make profit, but we cannot make losses because you, Mr. Mayor and Councillor, gave it so much money, Indigo, Osoyoos development shores, and watermarks, and so on. So that's why we are losing money. Okay, having said that, it's one proof that I came back, and I will be giving this, Mr. Mayor, to you and to Council. As I said, there is a 2 report, 209 and 210. If you compare the pages, identical item by item, word to word, there is nothing changed. Most of the jobs was done by development, by planning, 2009. Why to repeat again? Second thing, again, if you go to page 57, 2010, Director Strategic and Objectives Actions, again, planning and development, same identical, word to word, with a 2009, page 44, 3 of 82. So they are all identical. So why are we repeating? Just maybe yes, that to show that planning department is so busy. I say no. And Mr. Mayor and councillors, back to financial yeah. Regarding the town of Osoyoos financial statements, I believe it was town accountant, auditors, Mr. Doherty, he was here. Nobody did ask question except a little bit credit goes to Councillor Ryan. He just even not even quarter didn't get it, because in my opinion, he should be answering to you, Mayor and Councillor, regarding the financial statements. We paid him over $24,000. When Councillor Michael Ryan asked, he would not even explain. He gave to Mr. Zakal to explain. Respectfully, I disagree with that. Because the reason is, now, all year around, there is not enough information given. That's why I am saying this council and administration, it's not transparent or open, because it's hard to get information, particularly financial statements or these kind of, which is the income and expenditure statements. So that's why, Mr. Mayor and Councillor, now you are a minority, Mr. Mayor. There are 4 of them. The power on their side. They can make it and they can break it. But they didn't do their job. They promised, they didn't do it. They failed, in my opinion. Now, especially for future, for next year, public should be as well allowed to ask the question. We used to have that, previous administration, not this one. So that's why I didn't come here and even waste my time. Now, Mr. Mayor, as I said on financial statements and councillors, Jim gave me, Mr. Zakal gave me, thanks. And what I went through, that's why I mentioned annual report 209 and 210. I did compare, because there is a lot of discrepancy. There is not enough answers and has to be given. Because like 2010, page number 2, and 2009, page number 2, I made quite a bit question marks. For instance, Mr. Mayor, it says here, net financial assets for 2010. I'm not going to go to all the pages, just for the information. It says we have it was reported 3,838,944. And here we go, Mr. Mayor and Councillors. On 2009 report, it was only reported a net financial asset, 662,122. So there is quite a bit thick, and I will be getting to.
Yep.
Well, I will be providing media as well. I have copies. So, well, Mr. Mayor, councillors, it's nice to say everything is done deal. It's not. It's not, because, first of all, democracy, we are losing it, becoming autocracy. Yeah, I said that because Elliot's report is important, and whether we didn't know what's wrong with our community or ours, but we should, anyway, if we are going to follow, there is a nice remarks, suggestion, but when I say autocracy, the power comes to only a few people in this town. In this case, openly, administration. Mr. Mayor and councillors, you are boss, all of you, 5. So, you are the one who should decide, and because you are responsible to us. Having again said that, let's work better. for our community, and especially now, we are less than 5,000, maybe 5,000. What we have according to Hellman's report, that thing is for 15, 20,000 population. We should not be doing that, in my humble opinion. It will be bad feelings, but so be it. The truth and surgery, there is not much difference. Both should heal. Both hurt, but both should heal. We are working for community. I am concerned, and that's why I want openness. I am open, Mr. Mayor and Councillor. For the record, anyone, any bureaucracy comes, they have anything to rebut or refute my stand, please let them come on the microphone, and I will take it the way it is as a democracy. I don't want anybody outside of this premises. I gave you, Mr. Mayor and Councillor, in writing, and to Mr. Romenko. And this time, he will not get away with that. Now, Mr. Mayor and Councillor, what's most important is you have the correspondence. I did 5, 6, 7 different letters. We are talking about planning about adopting the Oasis development, so-called medical building. It was not medical building, Mr. Mayor. It was actually 2 petitions was there, and both were false. Now, this council did adopt it. Illegal, in my opinion, and they were misled because one petition said enhance health. It does not. It does enhance their pockets. God bless the developers. But if it was a walking clinic, it would. Second, it was 237 units already approved, which is not true. It was only time approved, Mr. Mayor and councillors and Mr. Romenko, September 16th, I believe. September 16th. It was that much. Councillor McCron-Miller, he tried to sell us hot cake even without 72 hours. He just made up his mind that he can pass it. So I say those 75 plus, they were 100% affected. They got ripped off. Their application, their petition was not even mentioned. And that's not fair. That's why I'm attacking with this council and of the openness and transparency. Any question, I will take it. As I said, if I leave these premises, I want to be left alone, Mr. Mayor and councillors.
Thank you, Mr. Maselli. There's a few minor corrections out there dealing with one of them dealing with the audit. He's not here. He's here to approve the science of the financial report. He's not here to actually do the report. We have Mr. Zackel doing that. So that was one of the ones that you brought up, that he was here to report on the science, that it was accurate, and they go through and make sure when you're doing an audit, they'll track one receipt through and make sure that it's all done properly. So he was reporting on the town's books and the health of them and the standards that are acceptable standards for audit. So he as I say, he didn't have any local knowledge on our report other than auditing the process.
Mr. Mayor, respectfully, I disagree.
Well,
he is an auditor. He got paid. He put the numbers there. He verified the numbers there. Now it's a different.
Okay.
Needs to be looked after.
Okay.
I am not saying something happened wrong.
Okay.
Please.
Okay.
But I'm not accusing Mr. Zackel or them or company.
Okay. Mr. Zackel, do you have a comment on that, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council.
Mr. Maselli, thank you very much. And I'd just like to say that some of your information and some of your queries and some of your questions have some good validity and some don't. Thank you, Mr. Maselli. Mr. Zackel, please.
Thank you, Mayor Wells. For page 2, that Mr. Maselli is noted a discrepancy within the financial statements. I will check into that. I will report back to council on that, and I will have an explanation of why that number is different.
Sure.
And that's definitely something to check into.
Right. And I know that as council, we get Mr. Maselli, we get quarterly reports from the financial department, and you're welcome to get those quarterly reports. They're a part of our meeting. Am I correct, Mr. Zackel?
Mr. Maselli gets the detailed, he pays for the detail through an FOI request on a quarterly basis.
Okay.
As well as the year-to-date paid to suppliers and the list of grant and aids that are paid to the community.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Zackel. Mr. Maselli?
Mr. Mayor and councillors, I almost forgot. Thank you, Mr. Zackel, reminding me. That's why, yes, you are getting quarterly. As a councillor and as a mayor, if it's any discrepancy, you will notice it. I don't get, and nobody else gets it, because why under the Freedom of Information? Those are nothing. Like tonight, today, you are going to pass over $500,000. That should be on the internet. It's not. I will be getting next year.
Okay.
So that's why another thing, there is no transparency or openness. This is not in camera, it's only 3, labor, land, and law. But now the land, it still could be open. Land, labor, and law is in camera. I don't want that, Mr. Mayor.
Right.
And councillors.
Well, this is both on Channel 18 and on the web. This is not on the web?
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, no, now we are, but I'm talking about, Mr. Mayor, general funds and arena funds, what are you going to approve this afternoon? That should be in the books. They should be public. It's not.
This was approved at a public meeting, Mr. Maselli. We're not approving this today. This is our AGM. We're not approving anything. This is our presentation to the public.
I know, maybe, Mr. Mayor, for the record, I'm talking on next regular meeting. All that annual, what you have, a $500,000, which we are going to pay suppliers, it's not going to be public. You are just reading the names, the numbers, that's all.
Right.
Should be provided, and I was deprived.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Well, thanks for your input, Mr. Maselli, and I think every council can use a watchdog. So you are ours, and there is some value to that, Mr. Maselli. Mr. Zackel?
Mayor Wells. I just want to again bring up the fact that the quarterly financials are given to council and they are at an open meeting, so that these documents are actually public documents. But when we talk about the detail accounts, when you're talking about capital projects that haven't been tendered yet, if the contractors are aware of what our tendered or our budget prices are for these individual projects, very unlikely are we going to be getting within budget, and that's the thing. So the financial statements on a quarterly basis are provided at the open meetings.
Mr. Romanko?
Thank you, Mayor Wells. There's just a few of Mr. Maselli's comments that I'd like to speak to, because I think he leaves something to be explained to some of the public that are listening. Mr. Marcelli talks about the costs of engineering services and his suggestion that a civil engineer would appear to provide for all the costs, and that these costs are attributed to a number of different projects that involve multifaceted types of engineering services. One person cannot do all this, and many of those engineering services that in fact we have on the books right now are directly attributed to the Northwest Sewer Project. That is a huge amount of our engineering costs that could not be done by one person alone. So every project could involve 2 or 3 different types of engineering services, and certainly if we were to attempt to try and duplicate that particular service in-house, the cost would be astronomical. The second point, in terms of the Helios study, that we did the groundwork in 2010, and the report came out in 2011, and we're still waiting from the consultant for the final benchmarking, and I did receive a draft of that report last week. That benchmarking will show that our staffing is not out of line, that we have basically, for this size of organization, for this size of community, that in fact is a resort municipality, that our size of organization is very, very comparable with other communities. This report will be looked at. Again, it is only a report. It's being provided within the scope of recommendations. All aspects of that report will be looked at and reviewed, and many of them have costs associated with them, and those costs are tied to a budget. So Council will be getting the opportunity to review the implications of that report through the budgeting process. In terms of the ongoing look at the planning services cannot only be measured by what comes out in terms of the building permits and number of development permits. The complexity of planning and development in municipal government today requires many services being done regionally, plans in place that are legislative documents, and also we are fortunate enough that, given the nature of the quality of staff that we have, that many of these particular services can be provided in-house as opposed to being contracted out. So in fact, we are having those services in-house saves for the outsourcing, which shows Mr. Marcelli's concerns. In terms of yes, many of the projects may appear the same between 2009 and 2010 in terms of the business planning process. Many of these projects carry over. It's also a 3-year business plan, so not all projects are finished in 1 year of the plan. They may take 2 or 3 years before, in fact, they come, based on what is the timing tied to legislative processes. And we're just bringing to the attention of people that these projects are there, they're on the books. And in terms of financial services, and I'm glad that Mr. Zackel did say he has provided Mr. Marcelli a lot of information, account information, and that certainly all that information has been made available to him. And I appreciate Mr. Marcelli's comments as a member of the as a citizen member. But at the same time, there's also should be, I guess, due respect shown to the fact that there are other implications besides his comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Romanko. Councilor Rhodes?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I won't comment on it right now, but Mr. Marcelli, you inserted a word into your dissertation referring to us being somewhat autocratic. Is that correct? Or yeah, I just wanted to let you know that I'm a passionate believer in democracy, and didn't even know what that word meant until I looked it up here in the dictionary. So I'd like you to know that I do take offense to that, and you are absolutely wrong when it comes to myself.
Okay, so that's basically it for the AGM. Okay, that's it for the AGM. We are heading for adjournment. Just to the public, there's just a couple of closing statements I have, and this was 2010, where we've been, and as we look to the future, as part of the package, 2011 to 2013 business plan, it's page 59. Do have a look at that. That's where we're going. If you want to see where your future expenditures are, that's where you'll find that information. So we do operate under a plan, a very, very demanding plan, very prescriptive plan, where we're spending our money. And when we change, if things change, because, we have 5-year plans out there, certainly things change and priorities change. It all is done through council. It all comes back here. It's talked about in this room, on that TV set, and on that website. So we're out there explaining this, and we spend a lot of time for that transparency that Mr. Maselli claims that we don't have. Him and I can bang heads on that anytime. And then finally, as a part of this package, there's a resident feedback form on page 100. If anybody wants to have some input into that, what we could do better, again, we would receive that input. So that is it for the AGM for the town of Osoyoos, year 2010. Looking for a motion to adjourn. Oh, I'm sorry. I was making the assumption that the public question period was over. Is there any further questions from the public? Any further questions from the public?
Mr. Mayor and councilors, I'm asking again for your permission because 2 o'clock or after this, you are going to vote or accept that voting machines by law. And I just wanted that under the section, there is A, B, C, D, I need to have, should be physical recount of the ballots. And I didn't see that report that morning, Mr. Mayor, and because I had to leave quick. So,
well, if we get to adjourn this meeting, why don't you talk to me then?
Okay.
Or Ms. Van Vienen?
No, because you are going to adopt it. That's why I wanted because it's not in you are already going to adopt it anyway, as a motion, as a business.
Ms. Van Vienen, please.
I think there might be a bit of confusion here. At the last committee of the whole meeting of council, there was a report that I presented with respect to changes that council could make to the elections bylaw if they so wished.
That's right.
And they have not given staff that direction, so the bylaw stands as it is. There is no changes coming.
I know I want to have a changes, because that's why I came early morning. Because, by the way, Mr. Mayor and councillors, the cat is out of the bag. I am running for coming elections. I want my right to be, and other colleagues, candidates, to be protected and not to be deprived. We have 2 machines, and I want to have record, so that if it's recount, physical. Because, Mr. Mayor and Councillor, you are making the laws, you are appointing election officials. Now, in my opinion, you all are conflict of interest, because you are going to be running probably for office, and they are involved with elections. So we didn't have a chance to have independent officials, but still, she did it, and Jim Zackel and Jeanette did excellent job, 2008.
Right.
Absolutely. But that's why I just wanted, I can see the paperwork.
This is the issue there where you want the other machine locked up at the police station.
That's right, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I understand the issue.
And the issue will be locked up, and second is most important, that candidate or their representatives can have recount physical, not with the chips, not with the thing.
Okay,
So
well,
that's why, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Maselli, we'll take this as information.
Yep.
Okay, we've received that as information. I would really like to close the AGM off.
Well, just off the record, I'm leaving, Mr. Mayor and Councilor. June the 6th, I had to go quick. When I watched Channel 18, and as I promised, I'll be 2 p.m. I couldn't come, but my chair was empty. Nobody was there. And after he said third time, there was a nice smiles and pointing and what's called, and I said, gee, I still can feel it, even I'm not in the chamber.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Maselli.
Councilors.
Okay, hearing no more public input, I'm looking for a resolution to adjourn. Please, motion to adjourn. Councilor Rhodes Chadsey, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. We are adjourned. 5-minute to 10-minute recess.